As always, please remember to like, subscribe, leave us a question. We answer questions here all the time. And on the note of answering questions, people are asking what's going on in Q1 2023. Push your advantage. So we're not going to answer the question directly. It's like the question was more around what's going on. But we've talked about this before and think that this is the time to push that advantage.
Yeah, like you said, we've talked about this for, I guess, the last couple months, basically. We've been seeing what's been happening, like with inflation, interest rates going up, and how that's impacting businesses. The thing with marketing is there's always a good time if things are going up, and if things are going down, there's always a way to find that strategic advantage. Right now, really it's a time when, as a company, you really don't want to be laying off on your marketing spend. In fact, you would ideally be spending a little bit more, because right now prices are getting cheaper, because some companies they're being forced to pull back on their budgets because we see what's happening in the supply chain, and in some cases they just don't have any choice, so they have to pull back. But if you have the ability, use it to your advantage and take market share.
Yeah, so look, there's a couple data points here that we've run into based on our relationships in different industries or even in the agency world. We haven't really seen this, but look, anecdotally, there's a lot of people giving verbal closes on like B2B deals where then they just don't hear about them anymore. So like people say, yeah, totally, like we're going to sign, no problem. You'll have the contract by Friday, and then nothing, crickets. And especially in January, I take this as whatever the department is that's issuing the buy order or going to sign the contract, they usually double check with finance prior to signing it. And finance is creating like an amended budget based on rates, like if like on their lines of credit and things like this, cutting down budgets. Like even though maybe look, most companies' budget for Q1 was probably done in October at the latest, right? So they're cutting budgets in December, January, and then they're not letting the departments know. It's like, hey, your budget actually just went down a bunch. So on that double check confirmation, it's like, I guess we can't sign this thing. And that's more anecdotal, but like I've now heard it from at least like 10 to 12 different people. This is happening to them. So that's one thing. Number two is, as Ricky mentioned, there is a lot of supply out there of like goods specifically. If you go to a mall right now, it's a great time to buy. There's a lot of sales going on, and there's still a lot of stock that went unsold from December. And I have it on good word that there's a lot of distributors that are holding on to a lot of product to the point where they're telling the manufacturer of that product, stop making it because we're now canceling or putting on hold our orders for the next 3 months. So now those factories, those manufacturers have to stop making stuff for the next 3 months. So we went from a supply shortage to a supply surplus very quickly here. As rates went up, household spending is going down. People are having to put more money onto their mortgage and their bills and their like other lines of credit or anything that's affected by the interest rate. And now it's going to start affecting people that are working manufacturing and sell through. So where is this all going? It's like people are still buying things. It's not like it's halted completely. So what's the point? The point is that in order to use this to your advantage, you have to take market share from your competitor. And now is the time, because I'll tell you, most finance departments are telling marketing departments right now to cut spending, when in fact, this is the cheapest market share you're going to acquire ever. Because when other people are slashing costs, if you boost them, the result of acquiring a brand new customer that's never done business with you before might be cheaper than ever before, at least from an ad spend perspective. An overall perspective, I don't know, maybe not, but from an ad buying perspective, yes. Now, how can you take advantage of this beyond like just today? Like what's going to happen? I personally think, and this is not financial advice, so I'll asterisk this immediately. I think as much as they just push through another 0.25% increase or whatever have you here in January in Canada, they're going to maybe plateau it, maybe one more, and then they're going to start bringing it down. Because look, this is the same thing that happened before or at the beginning of COVID. They freaked out. They printed a bunch of money. They gave a bunch of stimulus. They cut rates even more. They overdid it. They flatly overdid it, right? We're seeing the same thing now. They're overdoing it to the other side. So they're increasing things and they're overdoing it. So what's going to happen? It's like they're going to realize that they overdid it, and then they're going to start decreasing rates. Now, are we going to go back to interest rates that we saw in the past 4 years? It's like not, because those interest rates are crazy low. But are they going to back it off? It's yeah, they have to. They have no real choice in the matter at this point. When it comes back to how we look at these things, is are sales going down of goods? Yes, they are. We're seeing more price shopping, more price comparisons. People are looking around a little bit more before executing their purchase.
They're not even essential goods.
Yeah. They're not as quick to pull the trigger on these things. However, they're still buying because that's what people do. Like, people continue to buy goods and services. It's the way it always has been. It's the way it always will be. And in every slowdown, there's always winners and there's always losers. So my recommendation, find the niches that your business serves that are less affected by all of this. And there always are. There's subsections, like whatever you think your target audience is on aggregate, there's going to be a smaller cohort within that is less affected by all of these things. They're going to continue buying. They might even buy more because they're looking at good deals. Find those people and acquire those people from your competition and push hard. Like, niche it down. Like, break that one big target audience or those few target audiences that you have, break them apart into much smaller pieces, see where the value is, and then maybe even create a campaign specifically for that, and then push against that one tiny subsection of a cohort, and maybe do it like in a bit of a wider net than you usually would geographically, because you're trying to acquire those people. And the people that are just like, oh, like this isn't working, I guess I'm going to shut it off or lower the spend, you're going to get the impressions and you're going to get like those customers that they're now not hitting anymore because they're bringing down their budgets, right?
Yeah. Right now, as you mentioned, there's a ton of price shopping happening. So there's still demand, people are still buying, but they're going around, instead of going to one place or two places, they're going to 5 places and they're asking, for the best price possible. So based on this, like right now is the perfect time to be differentiated in your brand and in your offering. If you are completely unique, as in nobody else is doing exactly what you do and you're serving a specific niche, you're going to be good. But for everybody that, there's 5 other competitors and they're all the same, there's no difference, they're going to be more so in trouble. So really look at how are you differentiated in your offering, in your service, and even consider short-term promotions where you can basically say, okay, look, for a month or two, we're going to give something so we can get that customer, because getting the customer is better for us than losing all these customers and still having to pay for the staff.
And just to be clear, like when we say break these like groups apart, find like those like tiny niches that are still buying, etc. It's don't just package the same message that you were at the wider. This is where creative comes in. This is where creative ideas make the difference between your brand and telling the story of it versus your competition. And that's how you're taking the market share. It's not only just targeting the spend and maybe even adding spend to specific areas, but it's actually more so coming up with those new, fresh ideas that make your brand stand out versus others, and then using those campaigns to target against those very specific target audiences. And again, winning that market share off of your competitors. All right, another episode in the bag. Until next time.